So yes, if there's an issue with that payment to Stormy Daniels being that it was made on behalf of the candidate, okay, and it was not declared, that's fair game, unfortunately, if that's the case. And, quite frankly, Michael Cohen, again, has made statements that would give rise to suspicion for any prosecutor to say, that doesn't make sense that a lawyer took out a home equity loan with his own money, paid somebody that he didn't even know on behalf of a client who, by the way, had the wherewithal and the money to afford $130,000. And by the way, didn't tell the client about the settlement agreement. It's an illegal agreement. It's a fraud. If that's in fact the case.
In what can only be described as another day in the world of Trump, video has surfaced showing Trump's attorney Joe Tacopina saying that, as you just heard, the hush money was illegal and it was fraud. The video from 2018 has Tacopina calling the hush money payments to Stormy Daniels and the falsification of records an illegal agreement, because that's exactly what they were. Oh, and for the record, Tacopina, before becoming Trump's counsel, tried to get Stormy Daniels to hire him. So, yeah, there's a conflict. Although in Trump's world, just another day at the office. But now, 5 years later, Tacopina, now Trump's counsel, is making the rounds, defending Trump and attacking Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney and his fixer. Fixer means he makes bad things go away. Cohen served time in federal prison back in December of 2018 after pleading guilty to campaign finance charges and lying to Congress. And Cohen and Daniels are the New York prosecutors' big stars in the case against Trump. So what is Tacopina saying now?
It's clear to me the Manhattan DA did not want to get to the truth. What can you tell us about the charges, if they're coming, and if so, when?
Janine, they're not obviously keeping us in the loop. And I've really racked my brains trying to figure out how they could fit that round hole into a square peg or a square peg into the round hole. It's mind-boggling that we're at this point. This is a case that has, I heard you say, novel legal theories, some said. There is absolutely no legal theory that matches the facts here. There's two very important things that happened. This was a settlement like any other settlement, in a nuisance settlement, in a claim of this manner, where someone's claiming they had a relationship and they were going to go public with it, a.k.a. extortion, by the way. But that's nothing more or nothing less than what this was. It was a settlement made by a lawyer, okay? And the lawyer subsequently created invoices and billed the client for much more than that, and for other things. But understand this. There's two really crucial distinctions here. One, this was paid not with campaign funds, but with personal funds.
Right.
If President Trump thought this was a campaign violation, certainly, or something that would fall within the purview of a campaign, it would have been paid with campaign funds. Secondly, and most importantly, the bright line test for personal use, whether it is or is not a campaign donation, is when you have personal funds, you look to see if that payment would have been made irrespective of the candidate's campaign. Here, clearly, the answer is yes, as even Michael Cohen had to testify under oath when he pled guilty, that it was done to protect the president and his family from personal embarrassment. So it's mind-boggling that we're at this point. The rule of law is being stretched to pursue a political opponent of this prosecutor and this prosecutor's support system, which is the far left, the George Soroses of the world. Yeah, the feds have said it. The Federal Election Committee has not ever ruled that this was a violation. They looked at it. As a matter of fact, Bradley Smith, the former chairman of the FEC, said this is in no way, shape, or form a crime. That doesn't make sense that a lawyer took out a home equity loan with his own money, paid somebody that he didn't even know on behalf of a client who, by the way, had the wherewithal and the money to afford $130,000. And by the way, didn't tell the client about the settlement agreement. It's an illegal agreement. It's a fraud.
Of course, none of that is surprising. Everyone in Trump's world lies and then contradicts themselves. So what is this case about? Well, bottom line, Trump and Michael Cohen devised a scheme. Cohen would arrange for payments to Stormy Daniels. Trump would reimburse Cohen, and Cohen and Trump would cover up the true nature of the payments by recording the reimbursement as legal fees, along the lines of a retainer agreement, one that the Justice Department said never existed. And because these fees would have to be reported by Cohen on his taxes, Trump paid Cohen huge additional sums to pay for these taxes. And to keep the Daniels payments secret, neither Trump nor his campaign would report the payments as a campaign contribution. That's it. Slam dunk. To better understand this, let's go back in time. It's 2006. Stormy meets Trump, who at the time is the star of The Apprentice, at a celebrity golf tournament in Nevada. Daniels says he invited her to dinner and she met him at his hotel suite where they bada boom, bada bing. At the time, Stormy Daniels was 27 and Trump was 60, and his wife Melania had recently given birth to their son. 5 years later, Daniel gives an interview describing having sex with Trump in exchange for $15,000. The interview never ran because Michael Cohen threatened to sue when the publication asked Trump for comment. Daniels says she never got a dime. So in October, Stormy Daniels tells the editor-in-chief of the National Enquirer she's willing to go on the record about her affair with Trump. Cohen negotiates a deal to pay Daniels $130,000 in exchange for the rights to her story and a non-disclosure agreement. But here's where it gets insane. Cohen opens up a new bank account for a company called Essential Consultants and transfers $131,000 he got by taking out a home equity line of credit and putting it into the new account. Then, Cohen wired $130,000 to Stormy Daniels' attorney. After Trump won the election, but before being sworn in, Cohen sought reimbursement from Trump for the $180,000. That's $130,000 for the payment to Daniels, plus a wiring fee and an extra $50,000. Trump executives double the reimbursement, remember, to cover the taxes, to $360,000 and add another $60,000 for a total of $420,000 to be paid in monthly installments for 12 months. You follow that? So Cohen is getting paid extra for the money that he has to pay for taxes. In August of 2018, Cohen pled guilty to 8 federal counts of tax evasion, fraud, and campaign finance violations related to the payments to Daniels. He told a federal court in Manhattan that Trump directed him to make all of the payments. So later on in August of 2018, the same year you saw that video, CBS News reports the Manhattan District Attorney's Office opened an investigation and was considering pursuing criminal charges against Trump 1 week after Cohen's guilty plea. Investigators said they were looking into whether the Trump organization falsified business records of reimbursement payments to Cohen. That's where we are right now. After a 4.5-year battle with tax returns in the Supreme Court, Trump's arrest is imminent. And the felony side of this is serious, falsifying records. It's a big deal. But here's the question. Is the Manhattan criminal case selective political prosecution, attacking a political enemy for a crime that no one else will be charged with? No way. Michael Cohen, who was instrumental in the scheme, has already pled guilty to a federal crime from this conduct and served time for it and other crimes. Prosecutors told the court that Cohen acted in coordination with and in the direction of Trump. In fact, the law clamors for the prosecution of the upper-level conspirators of a crime that has occurred. New York had to pick up the slack, since federal prosecutors under Bill Barr's corrupt tenure had put down any and all investigations. But now, like Tacopina, Barr admits that something doesn't smell right. While the world waits for Georgia and Garland to get it together, this is a real case. As Tacopina said on CNN back in 2018, it was illegal and fraudulent. In a nutshell, Trump isn't getting special treatment. This case boils down to the same old, same old. The hush money itself isn't illegal, but it was the cover-up that gets Trump. And in the course of that scheme, Trump created a false business record to cover up the crime and to avoid detection. This is just the beginning, and it's the real deal.